Hi, my name's Rob Lee and I'm an associate at MHA Carpenter Box within our business services group, and now just going to go through a few bits from yesterday's announcements by the Chancellor in his budget. The Chancellor was setting out his sort of environment for not only support of businesses but a plan for recovery and growth, breaking it down into three areas: saving jobs and businesses, building the future economy and fixing the public finances. The main part I'm going to focus on here is building the future economy, which is the section where the Chancellor set out how he sought to provide the stimulus for businesses to rebuild following a very challenging year for most and reduced activity. The main stimulus that he announced was the recovery loan scheme. Now, the key to the future of the economy is not only the reopening of businesses, but the rebuilding of trade following reduced revenue for most of the last year for the vast majority of UK SMEs. Generating growth following a period of reduced revenue generation will put significant pressures on already stretched balance sheets of these businesses, with the working capital cycle for most being that expenses will precede revenue generation. As such, a funding package was clearly required to drive the recovery process. Extending the existing loan schemes, the coronavirus business interruption loans and the bounce back loan schemes, which in themselves were reactive at the time of the pandemic, to provide a survival support, wasn't really going to be sufficient, especially as many businesses would have probably already borrowed up to the 25% criteria limits of these schemes. Therefore, the news that these existing schemes, which are due to close at the end of this month, are being replaced by the recovery loan scheme was a welcome one. The scheme in itself appears to be more tailored to the current situation, with a focus on supporting investment and delivering growth, with the British Business Bank stating that these loans will be available for any legitimate business purpose, but specifically mentioning management of cash flow, investment and growth. So in terms of what we know so far, the scheme will start on the 6th of April and will run through to the end of this calendar year, although that will be subject to review. The facilities themselves will consist of a range of products, being term loans, overdrafts, asset finance facilities and invoice finance facilities. Facilities will be to a maximum of 10 million, with the starting point for asset finance and invoice finance facilities being at around £1,000 and £25,000 for term loans and overdrafts. As with the existing schemes, there will be government guarantee of 80%, and the term loans and asset finance will be available for up to 6-year terms, with overdrafts and invoice finance for a 3-year period. Now, most of those parts are relatively similar to the existing CBILS and bounce back loan schemes, but the main differences of the recovery loan scheme is that there will be no turnover limit on the level of borrowing. Interest and all fees will be paid by the business from the outset. The access, and the main point was actually that the access to multiple schemes will be available. So those businesses who have already taken out a CBILS or bounce back loan will be able to access these loans. However, the maximum borrowing will be dependent on the lender's assessment and the scheme requirements. Also, loans will be affordability assessed and subject to credit and fraud checks. This we will have to wait to see with more detail. However, it does appear that the lenders themselves will have a bit of flexibility in how they approach these affordability checks. As you can kind of see there, as the case with all new schemes, we await greater detail around who can borrow, what the rates will be, what level of security will be need to be provided by borrowers. And more telling will be understanding how the lenders themselves are actually assessing applications, but this is what we'll have to wait and see. In addition to the loan scheme, we had the mention of the super deduction, Now, this is probably one of the biggest surprises coming out of the budget, which will allow businesses to claim 130% of capital equipment purchase costs as a CT deduction. This will cover the period of purchases between the 1st of April 2021 for 2 years to the 31st of March 2023. Now, this is certainly a mechanism, when coupled with the recovery loan scheme, that is aimed at stimulating investment in the short term, and also giving business owners the confidence to invest in the future and grow their business.